the MOBE Mondays.
Good evening. My name is Yvette Moyo, and I am too excited this evening. We thank you for joining us for MOBE, Marketing Opportunities in Business and Entertainment. It's a series that we founded 28 years ago, and thanks to COVID, something wonderful has happened. I'm happy to report some good news that we shifted from our annual conferences that were drawing about 300 professionals to our advanced marketing seminars and switched to these MOBE Mondays, and we've had nearly 100,000 views of our business, weekly business discussions on all areas that are really about providing opportunities. This evening, we have the opportunity for you to participate, not only as business people, to understand a business in which African Americans participate in every single day, and it's the food industry. But in addition to having you learn more about the business, how you can participate as a consumer every day, you can make a difference and move businesses forward. Bottom line results, and this is why we call this a return on investment. How can Black American get a return on their huge investment in all areas of the food industry? We cook at home. We are essential to the success and growth of the grocery industry in America, and our flavor is the world. Our culture influences the world, and so we are now going to have a discussion with some of the leading African American food brands in the country and that are distributed nationally. Not all of the food brands are distributed nationally. You'll hear more about that. I actually used to have a product on the shelf, and so I know something about this business, and I love these people that are going to be presenting tonight, as well as I love our moderator, Cheryl Grace from the Nielsen Corporation, highly respected executive in the field. She's going to tell you more about herself, and I'm just going to say that I am so excited. This discussion, I want you to listen not only for the awesomeness of the people involved, but for what you can do, what is going to be your next step as an informed consumer. And I'll leave it at that. Cheryl, thank you so much. And thank you to the Nielsen Company, to AARP, to Procter & Gamble, P&G for noting or at least acknowledging that what we're doing makes a difference. So I'm going to sign off. I'm going to actually sit back, enjoy the show, appreciate the information, and just kind of bask in the glow of the kind of conversation that moves things ahead in business, which means in our families as well. Thank you so much, and good evening.
Thank you, Yvette, and thank you so much for having MOBE do this series every week. It is so valued to all consumers, and I can guarantee you that tonight 100% of the audience members who are watching are consumers. And so hopefully you're going to find this very interesting. We've got some really exciting guests, as Yvette just referenced, who are joining us today. I'm Cheryl Grace, and I'm the Senior Vice President of U.S. Strategic Community Alliances and Consumer Engagement at the Nielsen Company. And Nielsen measures what consumers watch and what consumers buy. So tonight we're really going to focus on what consumers buy, particularly at grocery stores. We also have joining us tonight Allison Collins. She's the managing member of Select Foods LLC, which is a Chicago-based brand that markets its premium line of gluten and preservative-free barbecue sauces under its flagship brand Mumbo Sauce. Allison is a second-generation entrepreneur who spent her formative years working in her family's restaurant and manufacturing businesses. Hi, Allison.
Hello, good to be here.
Have you. We also have Wiley Mullins. He's the founder and president of Uncle Wiley's Specialty Foods Inc., a firm that produces and markets Wiley's healthy Southern classics, seasonings, and spices. He's been active for 28 years across the country. He started his career at P&G, marketing national brands like Vicks Vapor Rubs, one of my favorites, Mott's Applesauce, also a favorite of mine, and Vicks NyQuil. has received a number of awards from business and community organizations. Hi, Wiley.
Hello, how are you doing tonight?
Great, glad to have you here.
Good to be here.
And last but certainly not least, we have Ron Damper. Ron is president and founder of DAMRON Corporation, a 100% veteran and minority-owned and operated tea manufacturer. DAMRON is McDonald's first diverse national supplier and supplies tea to them nationwide, along with various other restaurant systems. He's also founder of Damper Enterprises, which operates DAMRON Packaging and Logistics. I am really thrilled to have you here. Ron, how are you this evening?
Doing great. Thank you for having me.
So before we get this conversation started, I want to do, as we do at Nielsen, just give you a few insights about what African Americans' buying power looks like. And we've got a really brief series of slides to share with you. So if we can bring those up on the screen for a moment. So we're going to start, because I think this is always the best way to start any conversation, and that's by recognizing what our buying power is. Right now, we've got about a $1.4 trillion of annual buying power. That number is almost at 1.5 as we speak. And by 2024, we're expected to have a $1.8 trillion buying power. This is annually, and this is what we're spending as African American consumers. Next slide. So we make a lot of trips, you guys, to the grocery store. On average, we shop more often than white households, Hispanic households, and Asian American households. We make about 141 trips a year to buy groceries. And that is compared to 127 by the Hispanic community, 128 trips by the white community, and 129 trips by the Asian community. Next slide. What are we buying when we get there? Well, I think it's really very interesting to see that snacks is something that we're finding is of interest to us, particularly during COVID times. And when you take a look at the top 4 snacks that we're really into, mint gum, we over-index by about 37% on that. Non-chocolate snacks, we over-index by about 38%. Potato snacks, which are potato chips, we over-index by about 15%. But you guys, pork snacks, I think those are the pork rinds. We're gobbling those up. We're eating those at about 119% more over the 100% of the index. So we're really into pork snacks. Self-care is also very important to us. The top 4 areas where you're gonna find that we're over-indexing would be number 1, fragrances by 82%. We're buying more fragrances than any other community. Family planning, 46% over-indexing in that area. Along with feminine needs, we're over-indexing on those by 43%. And deodorant, we're over-indexing on buying deodorant by about 35% more than the total population. Self-care is really something that's very important to African Americans. It has to do with the fact that image means so much to us. And then last but not least, we're taking a look at some of the household consumables that we've been purchasing more than the total population. Air fresheners and deodorizers, number 1, we over-index on purchasing those by a whopping 83%. We like fresh houses, y'all. And then laundry detergent, liquid format, we over-index by 47% on that. And laundry fabric enhancers, we're over-indexing by about 44%. And trash bags, we over-index by 29%. Next slide. These are just a few examples of how we're spending our money on non-edible. But let's take a look at what we're buying when it comes to food. So the number 1 area that African Americans are buying are Quaker grits, and these are Quaker quick grits, which should not be confused with Quaker original grits. but we spent about $19 million last year in this category. Louisiana fish fry products, we spent about $11 million on their coating mixes. Glory Foods, cooking greens. Now I'm assuming y'all are mixing this in with your natural produce, because every time I talk to people, they say, we don't do canned greens. Somebody's doing it at about $7 million worth a year. And then Jay's potato chips, we're spending about $2.7 million on Jay's potato chips. Potato chips, as you recall, were one of the items that we saw that we were over-indexing on our snacks. And then Quaker Grits Original, we're spending about $2.6 million. And we'll make these slides available for you if you'd like to see what the other top items are on this list. Let's go to the next slide. So when you talk about African-American consumers, one of the things that we don't hear a lot of banter about is how important buying locally is for us. And these actually show the categories that we rank as the highest in terms of what we like to buy locally. And produce tops this list at 61% of us saying that it's important for us to buy produce locally. Bakery items, 56%, which is tied with prepared food at 56%, and eggs coming in just a little bit under at 55%. All of these, we're saying we like to purchase locally. And then following up for the top 5 would be dairy products. 52% of us say that we like to buy our dairy products locally. Next slide. So we have the same level of concern as the rest of the Americans do when it comes to the food and beverages that we're going to consume in the next 5 years. However, we are uniquely worried about sodium intake and hormones and antibiotics in our foods. A lot of that has to do with health-related issues that we need to be aware of. And so this is some things that we see that are represented in the Black consumers from a worry perspective, not necessarily seen in other communities. And next slide. Okay, so as we move into our conversation, this is what I think is really important. We've seen 2020 has been 9 months of pure unexpectedness. I'll just leave it at that. From COVID-19 to the social unrest that we've seen, there have been a myriad of things that have happened, have amped up consumers and retailers and manufacturers' emphasis on how they can better reach African Americans, because Black Lives Matter. What we have seen are there have been some positive stories, and this is one of the best stories that I've seen, but the Black-owned syrup company sales jumped 78% after Aunt Jemima brand retirement. Forbes did this article, and it's on the Michelle Foods Company and their line of syrups. Michelle Foods is, again, a Chicago-based manufacturer of syrups, and after Michelle, the CEO, had the took the advice of her daughter and did a Instagram comparison of their syrups, Michelle's syrups, versus Aunt Jemima. Sales went through the roof. They crashed their website, and the rest is history. They're doing a wonderful job with sales. So thank you for showing the slides. So as we talk to our panelists now, I think what I really want to start off and ask each of you is, how have you seen your businesses do better or worse as a result of what we've experienced in 2020? Ron?
Well, I think that's a good question. We haven't seen a lot of application yet because our products, primarily tea with nutrition, we're trying to highlight that, because you're right about African-American supply customers wanting products that benefit them. And we think we have tea now on some shelves out in the Epperson stores and 3 or 4 markets, and we're moving from west to east. And so we will see the benefit of that, but not yet, because those items are just going on the shelf. So far as retail is concerned, we don't see a lot of thrust yet. We're seeing, because the COVID item problem. We're seeing a lot of declines in our sales to, to the major food companies, but we don't see it yet.
So it's had a negative impact on you simply because the restaurants and retailers haven't been open. So you've had a negative impact on your business.
That's right. That's right. And so, but we're fighting to make sure our employees stay, African-American employees stay safe and that they can produce. We're just producing a little bit slower now.
All right. Barbecue sauce, Allison, decline, stay the same?
I think for the customers, the retailers that we are currently supplying, our sales have stayed the same. I think one thing that we are really kind of focused on in the particular environment is how we can introduce our brand to other retailers. I think one thing that has impacted our company in terms of the COVID crisis is that a lot of companies are working remotely. And so from that standpoint, there are not as many opportunities to do one-on-one presentations with buyers. So I would say that's kind of the immediate impact. But I think, what we are hoping that this, that can come out of just the current situation with consumers being more aware and more conscious about Black brands is retailers will really kind of look at their relationships with African-American companies through a social justice lens.
Okay, great. And we do hope that more of us are using that lens. Wiley, how about you? How's your business been?
My business is up. We have had a record summer this summer because we sell seasonings and spices that you add to cooking greens and beans and sweet potatoes and chicken.
Making me hungry, Wiley.
Well, you know what? America is at home and America is cooking at home. And we've had just a great summer. Sales are up. And I was telling my colleague Allison earlier today that this is September 1 and it looks like it's going to be a great fall. I had a truckload sale today, so I'm very excited about that.
Very good. All right, great. All right, so we've seen some up, some down, some flat. All right. Ron, considering your success in the movement from grocery to food service, particularly with McDonald's and the phenomenal Always Sweet Tea success, is food a logical step for you next?
Yes, actually, we are a little bit reversed from the other two panelists. We started off by doing food service and actually selling to McDonald's, our first customer, now 36 years. So therefore, we've now moved from the food service into the retail. We have a couple of brands in retail and we do private labeling. So it was a natural place for us to go. It's sort of interesting, Wiley. We actually sold our seasoning and sauce company, Best Jeff, to another African-American so that he can now benefit, hopefully, from what's happening with people staying at home cooking. But we moved directly from food service over to retail. And that's a lot more difficult, Wiley and Allison, a lot more difficult.
Right. You kind of paved the way.
Well, in food service, yes.
All right, all right. Allison, do you consider your products to be targeted specifically to the huge Black consumer market?
I think it's yes and no. So from the standpoint that we are always very interested in making sure that the African-American consumer knows about our brand and is aware of our brand and making that selection when they go into a retail grocery store where we are, definitely. Because we know that in terms of our category, African Americans and Hispanic actually index high for barbecue sauces and sauces in general. But in general, the barbecue sauce category is a $2.2 billion category. So we know that there are a lot more folks using barbecue sauces. And so for us, we look at barbecue sauce and our brand in particular as a general market brand. So targeting just kind of the wider audience and specifically interested in creating that awareness with Black consumers in particular.
And how are you, what's your primary mode for marketing your products?
It really varies retailer to retailer. We are doing a lot on social media. I think in the retail business, we do a lot with direct to the store. So for example, stores do, when you go into a store and you see a product on sale, a temporary price reduction, we partner with our retail partners to do that once a quarter, so that it'll get our consumers' attention when they go into the store looking for products that are on sale, and it's a great way to introduce the brand that way. With some of our retail partners, we have opportunities to do some co-promotions and joint promotions. One retail partner in particular here locally for us is Jewel Osco. They've been a great trading partner with us, and there are a lot of opportunities to participate in kind of community outreach programming that they do and that we can plug into.
And I love that you guys are doing community outreach. And I want to ask, you know, Wiley and Ron also, do you find that community outreach is a part of your overall marketing strategy that helps to bring in additional customers or to have clients come in and ask for your brands at the retailers?
Absolutely, Cheryl. When we started the Wiley's line 28 years ago, we started it because we wanted to not only to offer a great tasting line of products, we wanted to solve a problem. My seasonings are fat-free, cholesterol-free, but they still give you the flavor that you want when you cook your greens, your beans, your corn, etc. And as a result, we're able to do things. For instance, during Black History Month, we're promoting health and wellness. We're able to tell people that they can have great tasting, delicious traditional meals at Thanksgiving and Christmas, but still get those flavors, those smells, those aromas of the holidays that we love. We've done so many things in the community. For instance, I'll just name two very quickly. For several years, I've been a part of the Essence Festival down in New Orleans, and I've been associated there with Walmart in their pavilion, and we're able to see 1 million people over the course of 3 days, and really from across the country, so it's great. And Kroger featured me this past year during Black History Month across the country in a segment that aired in their stores in all of their divisions across the U.S. And it's a great awareness building generator. And like I said, we seek to solve problems. We want to help people. We haven't talked a lot about health, of course, but health is a real issue in the Black community. And I think that's one of the great things that Black entrepreneurs can do. We know the problems that we have in our community, and therefore we need to go out and set them. Back years ago when I was starting my career at Procter & Gamble, we had a lot of Black hair and skincare products. They knew the needs of our community, and they created products to solve that. So we have that opportunity, and that's something that I would tell future entrepreneurs. Look at the problems that need to be solved in your community and get out and solve them.
And do you see, because I think that's so important. I'm sorry, Ron, were you going to say something?
No, you asked the question regarding what we're doing in the community. We
Yeah.
dovetail on Wiley in a minute, but we have done a lot to donate different things to the various communities. We sponsor the North Lawndale Employment Network, where we have returning citizens, people that have been incarcerated, and we sponsor their tea every year and donate tea for that and help highlight it. We also have given away a lot of items to the Girl Scouts and to other people so they can use that. And then we've donated tea to senior citizens home, finally concentrated on Black people so they can see our product and tasting. And then the dovetail on Wiley, we have made sure that we now with this tea with nutrition, it may be, we have to be very careful because we want to make sure that we can price it in the range that the Black consumers can purchase it, but it has nutrition in it. So we're very focused on health and on sustainability. So we're trying to do all those things and still operate as a profitable company if we can.
And health really is an important part of the community. I'm sorry, Allison, what were you going to say?
I wanted to piggyback on what Wiley said as well, because I think two of the things that you pointed out when you were going, excuse me, over the charts and what kind of matters most to African American consumers as it related to health, related to sodium, preservatives, and also antibiotics in food. And I think one thing that our brand has always been a champion of is just offering products, and our company has always been a champion of, is offering high quality premium products that don't have preservatives, that don't have artificial flavors, high fructose corn syrup. And those are really things that are concerns of the African American community as it indexes higher. But as consumers are cooking more and as consumers are reading labels, those are the types of products that they are demanding with retailers. And so that is, from a positioning standpoint, that's kind of a space that we can occupy and an option that we can give people for better for you ingredients as far as products are concerned.
Mm-hmm. And so I love that each of you have health-related concerns that you're addressing with your products and your product lines. Are Black consumers getting it? Are you seeing, for example, because it's an investment to be in the community. It's an investment to give away free samples. It's an investment to set up your tents and your booth and to hire people to give away those samples. It is an investment. Are you seeing a spike in sales or requests after you've been at these events?
I certainly am. I'll tell you, Cheryl, for instance, you can take a package of my Wiley's green seasoning and
making me hungry again, Wiley.
You can,
I'm so hungry.
You can add that to a pot of greens and get the same flavor, if not better flavor than what you used to enjoy your grandmother when she added ham hocks or smoked turkey wings or whatever it was, and it's fat-free, cholesterol-free. And we started an initiative called Every Inch Matters that has caught on tremendously. Every Inch Matters is, a lot of times people go, we want to make it easier for people. Like with my seasoning, you just add right to your pot of greens or your pot of beans. That's it. Simple. You don't need any other meat or any other ham hocks, bacon, or whatever. But we took it a step further. We started an initiative called Every Inch Matters, and we did this in cooperation with Yale University Hospital here in New Haven, Connecticut. And if you'll see this, we call this our wellness measure. I don't know if you can see it or not.
It's a tape measure?
Well, it's a waistline measure.
Oh, waistline.
And, yeah. Instead of saying when you go to the doctor and they tell you your BDI and you don't know what the body BMI, you don't know what the body mass index stands for. The science has proven that women who have a waistline of 35 inches or less and men who have a waistline of 40 inches or less will have a lesser chance of developing chronic illness like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. So this is a simple way of letting people know. This has been so successful at Yale New Haven Hospital. They've given these out to people. And as a result, they know me, they know the products that we have, and it's been it's been a great project to see how, when you make it simple for people to understand, they'll act on it.
Absolutely. So 35 inches or less, ladies. And for guys, what is it?
It's 40 inches or less, but I got to tell you, one of the things that happens, people tend to measure their waistline where they wear their belt. And
Where should we measure it? Where we bend?
It should be about an inch above your belly button.
An inch above. Oh.
Yeah, that is your
That's
true.
one of the widest areas, an inch above your belly button.
That's the point. That's
We're in
the
trouble.
point. That's the
I'm in
point.
trouble.
And see, most women don't even know their waistline because you all don't buy clothing based on waist sizes. Men do, and that's just a good thing. And so we've been doing this program and telling people to put this on the door of your bathroom, and when you get out of the shower, when you're in your personal private time, just check it and keep up with it. And you will not believe how many letters, how many comments and phone calls we get from people saying thank you.
I love that. I've learned something. You done taught me something today, Wiley. I'm going, as soon as I end this, I'm going to go and do my measurement and see what I'm coming out at. Allison, considering the huge grocery expenditures by Blacks in categories like products that are related to our heritage, have you seen grocery chains make an effort for Blacks to succeed in such categories? Especially, have you seen an uptick lately, but have you seen it overall?
I think it depends on what retailer you go to. I think that diversity and inclusion has been a big campaign or a big, I'd call it perhaps an initiative that retailers have undertaken over the last couple decades. But I think how that is implemented, it is different retailer to retailer. And so retailers.
What are your favorite retailers, Allison? Like, let's be honest here. Who's doing it right?
I'd say one that I think does it right is Jewel Osco. And I think because they take a very entrepreneurial perspective on helping brands grow. I think another retailer that I have dealt with, Safeway, their Eastern division, we have an excellent relationship with them. And so I think our relationship with them has been one where they were looking for a unique brand, and it's how can we help your brand grow? Sometimes, you know, it's a matter of finding the right buyer, and in some situations, it's a matter of the CEO of the corporation may have a proclamation and may want to make a commitment to diversity and inclusion, but having that necessarily get down to the people who are actually making the decisions, the buying decisions, you know, it may be a different story in terms of what their matrix is and, you know, what their goals are. So I think the answer to that is that it depends on the retailer. And I think that, you know, kind of given this environment and, you know, given the idea that a lot of retailers have made a commitment to social justice issues, one thing that we kind of talk about as a social justice issue is just economic development and economic growth in partnership with African American businesses, because that's sustainable. And so I think as they're thinking about what kind of efforts to make and what kind of efforts that they can take, is kind of looking at how can we support these businesses or African American businesses in a sustainable way, so that, to Wiley's point, these businesses play an even more significant role in their local communities.
Yeah, I think that brands have been, of all types, have been really great to hop on the Black Lives Matter bandwagon, but they don't necessarily have the same level of commitment beyond their social media post. So when it comes to those internal commitments that they're making, when you're a little further down in the management of the company and you're dealing with those middle managers, there's a little bit more, I think, difficulty than the PR hype that is being pushed out there right now. Ron, you wanted to say something?
No, I was agreeing with Allison because basically, if they don't promote, we have some good ones like the Jewel, and that's because they had an African American brokerage company that highlighted that, helped set that program up. But I think most of the supermarkets need a program that will concentrate on building loyalty among their African American suppliers and then their customers. I think it comes and it goes, and they will. Different companies will take that and run with it. For example, they would also look at the brand of Black hair care products, but those are mostly owned by white companies now. And so they take that and they run with it because they know that the African-American consumer has some loyalty, but they have to look at what is actually produced by the African-American companies in our communities. And I think that's going to require a little bit more time, and it's going to require some effort and some concentration to make that happen.
I agree with you, and I can't believe we're already at the end of our time. We've got 4 minutes left, and so what I'd like to do is ask each of you if you have a message that you would like to give either consumers or the businesses that you're doing business with. What do you think right now in this state of the world where we are is the most important message that you can give to either one?
If I might start off, I want to look at it on the side of the stores and the buyers. And I think they really develop a program to include more African American products in their advertising, in their marketing. They should go to reduce or eliminate sliding fees and offer distribution assistance, because that's the only way we can get these products in on those shelves. And then give the products a time on the shelf to succeed. So I think all of those things are important. And there are a couple more that deal with financing and other things. I have some suggestions, but those things must happen to get more items on the shelf and then to give it time to succeed on the shelf to come off. Otherwise, you won't have a large influx of African-American products on the shelves.
Great, great advice. Wiley, Allison?
Allison, I'll let you go first.
I think that for consumers, I would say that to continue to be kind of vigilant in your understanding and your seeking out of products that are made by African American consumers. When you go into the store and you ask for products, that helps our companies, because sometimes when you're making a presentation, the first thing that a buyer will ask or say to you is, oh, we've had customers that have asked for this product. Or in other cases, they may say, well, I'm not familiar with the brand because nobody has asked for it. So really, from a consumer standpoint, it's really important to not just be aware of the brands, but when you are doing your shopping, there are different ways that you can let the retailer know that you're interested in specific brands. And I think to retailers, I would say that it is a great opportunity to kind of look at partnering with African American brands in the retail space as a sustainable way for economic growth, and also as a way to invest in the things that are important to both national retailers and African American manufacturers, and that is to be a contributor to the overall communities that we serve.
Right, I agree, and after we hear from Wiley, I'm going to add and piggyback on what you said, because consumers, you do have a responsibility. You absolutely do. Wiley?
Thank you. I would like to say we have the power in our pocket every day, and I don't think we realize that. We have the power with the dollars, but we also have the power with our cell phones. I think all of you should go to the Nielsen study, the African American study that Nielsen does annually. And one of the things that is quoted in that study, which is just amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, is that we have that African Americans have the highest usage on a percentage basis of social media, cell phone usage than any other group in this country. And why am I saying that? Use that. I know we like to show pictures of what we're doing and what we had for dinner and what we see at the mall, But when you see Black products, you need to put those on social media and send those all across the country, tweet them, Facebook them, Instagram them, whatever it is, and just let people know. Because I get a lot of calls from people saying, I love your green seasoning, but I don't tell anybody because that's my secret. And I'm like, please, you have to.
Killing me, people.
Help us out here. We need to, if you want to keep buying this in the store, we need to have those sales. And then for the retailers, right after the George Floyd incidents, a lot of the major retailers came out and said, we're giving 5 million, 10 million, 1 million to the NAACP, the Urban League, Black Lives Matter, whatever. But, you know, they left out one critical category, and that is something that they could do about it, and that is they could put us on the shelves.
Yes.
And that didn't come to their mind at first. And I think the problem there is because I've had retailers tell me that, well, you know, my customers don't necessarily eat soul food. And I said, listen, I said, Dr. Oz is talking about collard greens. Martha Stewart's got them in her cookbook. And everybody is looking for them. They don't know how to cook them, and I can help them. So they're looking for this stuff. And we had a positioning statement for our product, for our brand. And it goes something like this. To lovers of regional and ethnic foods, Wiley's is the line of healthy Southern food that's easy to prepare. So people who like Italian, like Thai, like Chinese, etc., they're going to like Wiley's. So let's give it a chance, y'all. That's what I would tell the trade, the grocery trade.
I love that message. I love that, you know, that it didn't come instinctively for retailers on how they could connect with African-American consumers in ways other than giving to the nonprofit civil rights organization. So I love that message. I have been saying for a number of years, and thank you so much, Wiley, for even acknowledging the Nielsen report that we do every year on the state of the African-American consumer. And we try our best to ensure that we are providing not only our clients with the information that they need to help them understand consumers, but we want to make sure that we're helping small businesses, Black-owned businesses, and consumers understand what their power looks like as well. So we want to make sure that we're arming the businesses that are owned by people who look like me to go out and compete competitively. And you're holding up all the tea, right? Let's pour some tea. Let's have some tea. Let's tell some tea. Have some
nutrition,
tea.
with nutrition.
With nutrition. And so there are 5 questions that I encourage consumers to ask themselves before they make any purchases. The number 1 question, first of all, is does the company or retailer or manufacturer that I'm about to do business with support community causes that are important to my community? The second one is, does this company hire people who look like me? The third question is, do they positively present people who look like me? So in their ads, in their commercials, if you're talking about what you're watching on television, are we pulling each other's weaves out of our head? Are we like throwing drinks in our faces? Are you positioning me in a positive way? The fourth question is, can I find this product or service or program in my neighborhood or on my networks? Can I get to it in my zip code? That's also very important. And the 5th question would be, if the answer to any of those other 4 questions is no, are you still going to do business with that company? Are you still going to buy that service or product? Or can you find a company or service or product that can do a little bit better? That's what we have as our responsibility as consumers. Because this $1.5 trillion, if we're not spending it to help the Rons and the Allisons and the Wileys of the world, then we're just throwing our money away. That's just my PSA. But I was told we have a few more minutes. And so one of the questions that we've gotten from the audience is, did the food industry get a boost from federal funding during COVID since so many consumers are now at home?
You mean our sales up? Absolutely. In fact, the firm, the retailers that I've spoken to, they are busting at the seams because people are buying food. They're cooking at home. Absolutely. And
Was there federal funding? Did your businesses get any federal funding?
I didn't get any federal funding.
Okay.
But Cheryl, I just wanted to say one thing about Nielsen, because I feel like I really need to do this. I used some of your data and created an education piece that I educated the grocery trade with. It's about the African American consumer, and I've actually sat down with people and taken them through this, and their comments. A lot of Nielsen data in here, and their comments is that I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So information is power, and if you have information, you usually have something that other people don't have. And that's the way that you can teach people. Because, you know, I went in and talked about, he says, what's a cook? A guy asked me recently, what's a cooking green? I said, don't you sell kale? Yeah. Don't you sell cabbage? Yeah. Don't you sell spinach? Yeah. Cooking greens. Okay, now you need something to season them with. And I used some of this data and I got the sale.
Wow. Okay. Can you send my boss that note? Because we really try to keep these reports alive within the company. And hearing that you've taken it and turned it into something else, that means the world to me. You know, been struggling working on these for, this will be our 10th year. We're working on it right now. And thank you, Wiley, for
I love it.
consumers.
And I have used your data. And I also, and I've picked up on things like, this is my fall brochure, cooking at home.
Cooking at home.
And we've got sports at home. We've got holidays at home. We got everything. And I use that, and I will shut up after this, Cheryl, but I got to tell you, I've been down in South America working, developing the marketplace down there. I've even used my Nielsen data in presenting to the people in Peru.
I love it.
I appreciate you.
I love it. Thank you for that. I'm very humbled by that. Thank you. I want to thank you all for this very stimulating conversation that we've had. You're all experts in this industry. Best panel ever. Awesome is what we're hearing. And I'm going to now turn it over to Yvette to close us out. But I want to say thank you and keep up the good luck, keep up the good work. And for those consumers out there, which is 100% of you all, make sure you support these businesses. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yvette? We're just going to smile pretty until Yvette comes back on.
Muted.
Okay, I'm coming.
Well, we have to learn to collaborate.
We do.
I love that you're using our data. I love it, Wiley. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm back. Oh, this was fabulous. Everything I thought it would be and more. And we could probably go on for hours because one, let me just say, Allison is so wonderful, poised, and she has this second generation, 50-year-old brand. Her family was in the grocery business. The Certified Stores of Chicago created this mumbo sauce, and she has been holding it down for 30 years. And that is no small, so she deserves a round of applause. Which we didn't say enough of is mumbo sauce, mumbo sauce, mumbo sauce. I don't know where are your products, Allison? We getting ready for Labor Day, and we want to put barbecue sauce on everything, like like roasted vegetables, carrots. We want to put barbecue sauce on the doggone kale, because we can. What'd you say, Allison?
what I was going to say, Yvette, is that, we've kind of created lots of different recipes and created a vinaigrette. So you can put it on your kale because just turning it into a vinaigrette makes that happen.
Say that's what I'm talking about, the innovation. It's like we haven't even begun to discuss the innovation and how we rock those seasonings, like how we rock the Wiley seasoning, how we rock our barbecue sauce. Okay, this is the secret for those people that are not Black that are watching. We're gonna put something else in whatever we buy, okay? Because we're not gonna tell anybody. But I'm gonna tell you.
You can put the barbecue sauce on the non-meat items now. So the Impossible burgers and the veggie burgers and
exactly, even roasted cauliflower and barbecue sauce. That's one of our vegan places' #1 item here in Chicago. So what I want to leave people with is this. One is that DAMRON, you do the sweet tea for McDonald's.
Yes, McDonald's.
Come on now, and we're not supposed to drink too much of it.
That's right, the sugar.
But
when you can mix it half and half.
You should. Okay, you could cut it down. You could twist it. You could put more lemon in it, so your system's getting something that's going to fortify and fight the disease off. We can rock these products. These 3 here, we need to see a bump in these sales. We need to see a bump in these sales from now until the end of the year. And the most important buying seasons in the grocery store are Thanksgiving coming up, our Labor Day, Thanksgiving, and the holidays, which is Christmas, Kwanzaa, etc. And Black people, everybody's at home now, and y'all don't know how to cook unless you use these products, because you haven't been going out. Those of you who can get on Zoom have been going out to eat, and you need.
May I mention that if people going to McDonald's or other restaurants, we're coming out with the tea with nutrition and new labeling for those healthy products. We've been fighting for years, and we will have those. They'll get a new hot tea in the McDonald's system before the end of the year without we're producing it.
So Ron, is it going to be on the cup? The nutrition going to be on
It'll
the cup?
It'll be the tea Mac Cafe. You have a new tea bag.
Oh wow!
An upscale tea.
Nice.
Love it. Very good, Ron.
And that's called like private label, because it'll be McDonald's tea.
It's private label, not in supermarkets, even though we're trying to get them to put it in the supermarket, but that's a big push.
Well, you have done phenomenal, because McDonald's does not play. McDonald's is going to only use top of the line, least expensive, highest quality is what they buy. And you have to be commended for having gotten through that system really early, and maintaining a relationship over that amount of time. Anything could happen, anything. And
new buyers come on board and they have a different mindset, and you have to have those relationships or establish the relationships to keep it going for the number of years that you've been doing business with them, Ron.
That's right. People just change their mind. In business, they'll say, "Oh, we just decided to do something different." You'll be like,
"We're going
knocking
in
on
a different direction."
Yeah. And you're knocking on the door saying, "What direction? Because I want to go there." And they're like, "No, we just left you last year. We just didn't tell you about it." So
can I get you guys to do public service announcements for me? Man.
You sure could. And you know what? We have a nonprofit. And our nonprofit, Real Men Charities, actually presents the MOBE series, okay? And our mission is to build healthy families and communities. So when we wanted to relaunch MOBE, it really fit, because building community can be taken in so many different ways. And like I said, we rock whatever we have in whatever way we can, right? And so this particular segment, and it's only Nielsen that could do, and only Nielsen cares about doing this kind of research and can sell it so that it makes a difference within their organization. They understand us more than we understand ourselves. And because of the research, that company has become more respectful of African Americans and what they do, because they see the numbers. In all honesty, some of these corporations don't pay for the research, so they don't have to look at the numbers. They don't have to admit that the grits category is a Black category, and that they should be, in everything Black you see, there should be a Quaker sponsorship on it, okay? They don't want to admit that. We don't care about Uncle Ben's. I didn't care about Uncle Ben's and Aunt Jemima. Look, they became our relatives, right? After a while, Black people accept anybody into the family as long as it has a quality standard, right? But if they had taken Michelle syrup, right? If they had taken Michelle syrup, it would have meant a lot more to us. If they had taken the mumbo sauce, it would have meant a lot more to us. If they had said, I'm going to take the DAMRON tea healthy line and make that exclusively ours that we push under our brand, we want to buy that line. Then it makes a lot more difference to us. If they say, I want Wiley not only to run his brand, but to run our company in the product, a brand product division as president of the brand, a Gillette brand or something like that, we'd be saying, corporate America got it. But you don't have it, corporate America. We know you don't. We're not a hashtag. You know, we want to see bottom line results. This is about where is our return on our investment for the expenditures that we make in these grocery stores.
That's why we need to be asking ourselves those questions, you all. The 4 questions, the 5 questions that I just went over, we need to ask ourselves that. We need to take our buying power so much more seriously than we do. And we don't need to do it just when there is social unrest. We need to do it 24/7. And because we spend so much time and money, and Wiley talked about, you know, what we're watching and where we're looking at advertising and how we're getting our music, all of that, at the end of each of those transactions, there's somebody making money on the other side of it. And we need to keep that in mind and make sure that those individuals are Black-owned businesses as often as possible.
Excellent. Now, one thing that I really appreciate, Cheryl, is that Nielsen has been behind MOBE from the very beginning of your coming to that company. And we have our own legs. We can stand on our own. We definitely want you back. But the fact that you helped launch a company and a series like this, and that we're still around, means a lot to us. And we don't want anything that you do to go away. We only want you to grow. And you have a wonderful growing staff that I'm appreciating. The more and more we see them, we want Nielsen to keep hiring high-level African-American professionals to represent these numbers and to tell the rest of the world how important we are. But for the consumer, and this particular segment should be shared everywhere that there's been a social justice hashtag or anything. The hashtag is economic justice.
Yes,
And it starts with us giving ourselves justice by searching out the Black-owned products and going to your store, you know, not in a negative way, but just saying, these are the products I want to see in here next week. And I promise you, I'll be your partner in making.
And I loved how Wiley, I think it was, who said, you know, it's helpful. And I think you said it too, Allison, when you go in to meet with these corporate individuals and they say, we've been asked about your product. People have been asking about it. So that tells you, if you don't see it on the shelves, consumer, and that's 100% of you watching this right now, don't just walk away. Go up and ask and make sure they write it down so that if there are enough people coming in and asking for the sweet tea and asking for the spices and the mumbo barbecue sauce, and because I'm going to go down to my Myers and start asking for it right now.
Exactly.
Are y'all in Myers? Anybody in Myers? Because that's where I'm headed, because y'all made me hungry.
I love Myers, by the way. And I know that if you tell those managers, if they order it, you will be their partner in making sure they sell. Those managers are paid and compensated and rewarded by how much they sell. And don't let this be a Patti LaBelle story about, you know, sweet potato pie. We don't really want to buy the pie from the store anyway, but you know, those people that need to, they can do that. We have bigger stories than that, and we can make bigger stories for people that work their finger to the bone every day to stay in business and to serve you. So mumbo sauce, the healthy DAMRON tea line. I did post these images on the MOBE page, MOBE Symposium on Facebook, and Wiley Seasoning. If you forget what we're talking about, just go to the MOBE page and remember that you could actually Google Nielsen and some of the numbers if you want to know.
And the numbers are there for free.
The numbers.
You have a link, Cheryl?
Yes, it's Nielsen, NIELSEN.com, and just type in African American report, and the latest reports will pop up for you.
Like Wiley said, information is everything. That's what Wiley said. So just take a minute, take a few minutes to spend on that site, because you'll learn more about yourself and you'll feel great about what the opportunities are for new product launches, This can be a mentoring group for you. I know as we build the MOBE Institute, we're only going to build these relationships and become advocates that these Black businesses grow exponentially now that that supposedly corporate America is aware that there are some gaps that they can fill.
Well, thanks again, everyone, for participating. I have enjoyed learning so much. And Yvette, thank you for inviting me to host this on behalf of Nielsen. We're thrilled to be here and supportive of the African American community.
You've been awesome. And our next Monday session, has been a special MOBE Tuesday session. We only put them in when we feel that it's critical to interrupt that schedule and add something to it. But understanding that Labor Day is here, understanding that Cheryl and who she is and how she explains what's important to us. The last time you were on one of our panels, Cheryl, we thought it was imperative if we could get you back again to get you back. We hope that we can have you back like every quarter. This is so important. Labor Day is coming. We're going to buy these products. We're going to research for more African American owned products. We're going to talk respectfully to the managers of our stores and say, let's be partners and let's build these businesses that are Black owned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Next Monday
everyone.
at MOBE Mondays.
Thank
We're
you.
going to use this too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh yes, and we'll be posting, because Facebook didn't, somehow the live is not working properly. We're going to be posting to Facebook Live and also to YouTube. So all you need to do is post something like, Food for Thought actually is going to be the name of it. How can we
Food for thought.
Food for Thought, how do we get our ROI out of our expenditures in the grocery industry? Thank you very much and good night.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.